The shuttle broke through Salin 4's thin atmosphere and glided toward the Orbital Academy station. Rhea Solace watched the massive structure rotate beneath them, 3 silver rings interconnected by bridges, glowing with a soft violet haze. The Galactic Academic Institute of Unified Species, GA's first human, first Deathworlder, first real experiment. No pressure. Her reflection stared back from the viewport. Dark eyes, calm expression, jaw set with quiet certainty. Her hair was tied back in a tight braid, one she'd woven herself during the long flight, each link a silent reminder of why she was here. Don't react. Don't fight. Don't give them a reason. The transport captain, a slim, bird-boned alien with feathers like polished steel, tilted her head. You are very... Still, the captain observed. Most students tremble on their first day. Rhea's lips curved faintly. I grew up where everything wants to eat you. Trembling wastes calories. The captain blinked, unsure if it was humor or fact. The docking clamps latched onto the hull, vibrating through the shuttle frame. Rhea grabbed her duffel bag. No armor, no equipment, just a few changes of clothes, and a data pad loaded with Earth music her mother insisted she take. To feel close to home, she'd said. Home, Earth, Deathworld Class VA place the galaxy treated like a myth, something spoken about in cautionary tales. Never provoke a human. They don't break the way normal species do. Rhea stepped onto the platform. The air tasted sterile and filtered, faintly sweet. The station existed as a neutral academic zone, no weapons, no combat allowed, and strict codes for species interaction, which meant they couldn't legally hurt her, and she couldn't legally show them she didn't need weapons. Students clogged the docking corridor. Dozens of species, scaled, feathered, furred, shifted aside when she approached. Conversations halted mid-sentence. A hush traveled down the hallway like a ripple through deep water. A tall, coral-colored alien whispered loudly, "That's her, the Deathworlder." Another snickered, "She doesn't look dangerous." Rhea walked past them, posture relaxed, pace steady. She didn't glance at anyone. Her mother had drilled a single rule into her on the night before she left. Strength doesn't need an audience. The school orientation hall opened like a cathedral of glass. Holographic banners floated mid-air, displaying welcome messages in hundreds of languages. A broad LED panel flashed a warning in bold red text. Special notice. Human student on campus. Do not approach without consent. Whispers intensified. A group of Varkul students, powerful predators. Known for raw strength, leaned against a pillar, arms crossed. Their leader, a tall male with ridged bone plates and silver eyes, watched Rhea with sharp interest. His stance radiated dominance. He was used to being the center of gravity. Zarek Talvon, student council enforcer, star in combat simulations. Rumored to crush metal blocks with bare hands. He grinned, revealing serrated teeth. So the rumors are real, he said loudly, ensuring everyone around heard. Human, you must feel honored standing in a civilized school. Rhea met his gaze for a brief second, analyzing him, not intimidated, simply evaluating. Then she walked past without a word. The crowd reacted as if she'd slapped him. Zarek pushed off the pillar and blocked her path. His friends fanned out, cutting her off from the hallway. The station lights reflected along their armor-plated skin. I spoke to you, Zarek said, leaning forward. His tone carried entitlement. On my world, that means you answer. Rhea stopped. She didn't look up. She simply adjusted her backpack strap. The gesture was small, but deliberate, telling him she had places to be, and he wasn't one of them. I heard you, she said. And? He demanded. I chose not to respond. Gasps spread around them. Zarek's jaw flexed. You think ignoring me proves anything? Rhea finally lifted her eyes. Calm. Measured. I don't think about you, she said. That's the point. A low growl vibrated from his throat. Other students stepped back. Fear shifted in the air like static. No one spoke to a Varkul like that. You're in my territory, Zarek said, leaning close, trying to tower over her. I decide who belongs here. Rhea tilted her head slightly unconcerned. The admission committee disagrees. They accepted me. Probably out of pity, one of his friends sneered. A smaller alien, more insectoid than humanoid, clacked its mandibles nervously. Don't provoke a Deathworlder. They're unpredictable, Zarek smirked. That's what makes this fun. He reached for her backpack. She didn't stop him. He unzipped it and pulled out her datapad and folded uniforms. Then, in a single exaggerated motion, he tossed the bag into a disposal shaft. The shaft hissed, and the backpack disappeared into darkness. The crowd erupted into laughter. She brought a toy pad. Primitive tech! Maybe it plays fire sounds. Rhea remained still. Calm. Silent. Zarek leaned in until his forehead nearly touched hers. Say something! Scream! Cry! Show us the monster everyone warns us about! Rhea's voice barely rose above a whisper. Yet every student heard it. There's nothing here worth losing control over. His expression flickered, just a flash of confusion, before rage returned. You think you're better than us? No, she said calmly. I think differently than you. She stepped around him, walking away without acceleration, without hurry. Her mother's voice echoed in her memory. You can win without fighting. They don't know how to handle silence. Behind her, laughter resumed. Humans are weak. She's nothing but hype. What kind of Deathworlder doesn't even fight? Rhea kept walking. Her pulse stayed even. Don't give them what they want. As she turned down another corridor, she caught a glimmer from the ceiling. A security camera. Its recording light pulsed red, active, tracking, storing. Someone was watching. Someone wanted proof. She paused only long enough to whisper under her breath. They'll regret underestimating me. Not a threat. A statement. Then she continued down the hallway, footsteps steady, posture unbroken, leaving the laughter behind. For the first time since arriving, Rhea smiled. Bullies never understood the same truth predators on Earth learned the hard way. The silent animal is never the weak one. The cafeteria of Gay Eyes was enormous, an amphitheater of noise, color, and scent. Every species had a section tailored to its biology, high-humidity dens for aquatic students, thermal alcoves for those needing intense heat, elevated perches for flight-capable species. Rhea carried a tray of nutrient blocks and a sealed cup of earth tea, imported and expensive. The aroma alone made her feel grounded. She scanned for an empty corner. She wasn't hiding. She was observing. Every scientist knows. Before interacting with an unknown environment, study it. Rhea moved to a quiet table beneath a large skylight showing the starfield outside. She set her tray down, sat, and bit into a nutrient block as if it were normal food. It tasted like chalk soaked in dishwasher soap. She didn't flinch. A few tables away, whispers began. There she is, the human. She doesn't even eat real food. No wonder her species survived a death world. They eat anything. Rhea ignored them and sipped her tea. Warm, familiar, peaceful. The peace didn't last. A heavy shadow cut across her table. She didn't have to look up to know who it was. Zarek Talvon. The cafeteria's sounds softened, conversations fading into hush. Students leaned in, ready to witness the spectacle. Zarek slapped a tray onto her table. His group sat around her like a tightening net. So, Deathworld girl, Zarek said, resting his elbows on the table, had time to cry about your little bag? Rhea lifted her gaze, expression neutral. I don't cry over objects. I can make you cry over other things. One of his lieutenants, a lanky, four-eyed reptilian, laughed, too loud, too eager. Do humans even cry? He asked. Or do you just scream? Rhea's voice remained steady. You're trying too hard. The laughter halted. Zarek's smirk faltered at the edges. Trying too hard? He echoed, leaning closer. You want a reaction, Rhea said. You need me to respond to feel powerful. A ripple of unease went through the gathered crowd. Zarek tapped the tabletop with a claw. You talk like you're above everyone, Rhea shook her head. Not above. Just uninterested in playing dominance games, the reptilian lieutenant snorted. Dominance? No, we're just teaching you your place. Rhea studied him. Not his height. Not his claws. His posture, the tension in his jaw. a tremor in his wrist joints. Fear. Not of her, of looking weak. She placed her cup down carefully. Do you know what predators on Earth learned early? Zarek smirked. That crying gets you nowhere? That patience kills. The cafeteria stilled. Zarek waved off the tension. You think silence makes you intimidating? No, Rhea replied. Silence makes you underestimate me. The reptilian lieutenant slid his hand toward her tray, intending to knock it off the table. Before he touched it, Rhea simply reached out, not fast, just precise, and placed 2 fingers on his wrist. Light touch. No force, he froze. Rhea spoke evenly. Stop, he laughed nervously. Or what? You'll snap my arm? No, Rhea tilted her head slightly. Your body will. Confused murmurs rippled around them. What does that? He began. He jerked his arm to pull away. Casual, dismissive. The crack was small but sharp, almost like dry wood snapping. His wrist joint buckled. Pain shot through his arm. He let out a choked noise and stumbled backward, cradling his broken limb. The cafeteria went silent. Rhea didn't stand. She didn't posture. She simply withdrew her hand and resumed drinking her tea. Zarek's face darkened. You broke him. No, Rhea said. He broke himself by forcing against resistance he didn't understand. He's hurt because of you. Rhea set her cup down. Calm. Controlled. I touched him gently. He pulled away violently. His biology couldn't handle the leverage difference. That's not my aggression. That's physics, the reptilian boy moaned as medic drones rushed over to examine him. The drones scanned bone density, tissue strain, and joint compression. Diagnosis, ligament tear, and microfracture, one drone announced. Cause, self-exerted force against external stabilization. Translation, he broke himself. Gasps filled the room. Zarek's expression twisted with anger and disbelief. You think that excuses you? Rhea met his eyes. I don't need excuses. I didn't attack him. You humiliated him. He humiliated himself by underestimating the person he provoked. Zarek slammed his hand onto the table. You think you're clever, but this place runs on hierarchy. Rhea leaned back in her chair. Hierarchy exists when the weaker need permission to feel strong. Zarek blinked. You calling me weak? I'm calling you predictable. A Varkul standing behind Zarek stepped forward, thumping his tail. On our world, insults require consequences. Rhea stood, not abruptly, not aggressively, slowly, controlled. She stepped into Zarek's space without hesitation. Their faces were inches apart. You want consequences? She said quietly. Choose the type. Zarek expected fear. Instead, he found analysis, like she was reading him the way one scans a terrain map for vulnerabilities. You won't hit me, she said. Why not? Because if you do, everyone here will learn the truth. What truth? That you only pick fights when you think the other person won't fight back. For the first time, Zarek's confidence wavered. Rhea continued, voice low. You call me a monster. But I'm not the one who needs an audience to feel powerful. The overhead lights flickered. The moment held. Then Rhea gathered her tray and stepped around him. Not fast. Not avoiding, just moving forward, forcing him to move aside or become an obstruction. He moved, because she wasn't reacting to him. She was dismissing him. She walked past the silent tables and left the cafeteria. Behind her, Zarek finally found his voice. This isn't over, human! You want to play dominance? Fine. You're mine now. Rhea didn't turn around. Bullies don't want fights, she said without stopping. They want victims. Her words struck him like a blade. I'm not here to be prey. She walked out. The door slid shut, and the cafeteria exhaled. The challenge announcement spread across the station like a shockwave. Combat Arena Reservation. Varkul Trial of Dominance. Challenger, Zarek Talvon. Opponent, Rhea Solace. Human, Earth. The words blinked on every hallway holoscreen. Students crowded stairwells and balconies, whispering, speculating, recording their reactions as if history were unfolding. Humans didn't fight in alien schools. Humans weren't supposed to. And yet, The human girl had been challenged by a predator species that thrived on physical dominance. Rhea walked toward the arena with slow, steady steps, her hands clasped loosely behind her back. Her heart rate was normal. Her breathing was measured. She didn't fear Zarek. She feared what she might become if she wasn't careful. Inside the arena, the atmosphere felt heavy. Students filled the stands, rows of species representing worlds she'd only seen on maps. Their eyes glowed with hunger for spectacle. The arena's simulated ground resembled a desert plateau. Jagged rock structures jutted from the sand. The lighting dimmed as transparent force fields locked into place. Zarek stood on the opposite side. Armor plates shimmered along his arms. His posture radiated confidence. He looked like a gladiator. Rhea looked like a student in a simple academy uniform. Zarek projected his voice through the arena speakers. Finally. The Deathworld girl has nowhere to run. Rhea didn't respond. She walked to the center and stopped at the marked circle. The arena AI chimed, "Rule clarification, no weapons, no augmentations. First to pin or immobilize the other wins." Zarek grinned, showing all serrated teeth. "You won't be conscious long enough to tap out." Rhea rolled her shoulders, loosening her posture. Not aggressive, just ready. She took a stance that looked too calm, as though she had already mapped the outcome. The match began. Zarek launched forward, faster than any human sprinter. The floor vibrated under his momentum. He crossed the distance in a heartbeat, swinging his arm like a club aimed at her ribs. Rhea pivoted, not away, but just out of reach. The strike whistled through empty air. Students gasped. Rhea said nothing. No taunt, no threat, just observation. Zarek swung again, faster, angrier. Again, she stepped aside with minimal movement. He wasn't hitting air. She was letting him miss. Zarek snarled. "Stand still!" Rhea's voice was quiet. "No!" Another roar. Another charge. Sand burst upward as he slammed his fist into the ground where she'd been a breath earlier. She walked behind him. Not ran. Walked. He spun toward her. "Stop moving!" Rhea met his gaze. "Calm, steady. You're confusing speed with control." Zarek lunged again, claws out. Rhea bent her knees slightly. Posture loose, balance perfect. She didn't shove him or strike him. She redirected with one hand, guiding his momentum past her. He tripped forward, stumbling into the rock dust. The arena roared. Students weren't cheering for Zarek anymore. They were watching a law of nature invert itself, predator becoming prey. Zarek rose, panting. "Fight me!" Rhea tilted her head. "You're not fighting." "You're thrashing!" He charged one last time, enraged. A blur of muscle and claws. Rhea sidestepped, caught his wrist, turned her body, and redirected his weight using leverage. A simple motion, fluid, precise. Zarek slammed into the ground, locked beneath her arm. Pinned. His breath hitched. He couldn't move. Rhea leaned close enough that only he could hear her. "Violence is your only language," she whispered. "That's why you lose to someone who doesn't speak it." Zarek strained, muscles trembling, but she had positioned her center of gravity perfectly. He wasn't trapped by strength. He was trapped by physics. Rhea loosened the hold just enough so he could hear the final lesson. "You wanted to prove humans are monsters," she said. "Yet here I am, not hurting you." His eyes widened. She wasn't gloating. She wasn't angry. She was disappointed. The arena AI blared, "Immobilization confirmed." Match over. Winner, Rhea Solace. Silence. No cheers. No boos. Just stunned realization. Rhea could have destroyed him. Instead, she let him walk away with dignity. That terrified everyone more. Zarek pushed himself up slowly. His breathing was heavy with shock and shame. He stared at her, expecting ridicule. She simply stepped back. "Why didn't you finish me?" he demanded. Rhea looked around the arena, making sure every spectator could hear. "Because the moment you fear someone, you stop learning from them." Zarek flinched, not from pain, but from clarity. "You think you've taught me something?" he muttered. "No," Rhea replied. "I reminded you of something." "What's that?" "That strength isn't measured by who kneels. It's measured by who chooses not to make others kneel." For the first time since she arrived, the arena felt breathable. The Varkul students didn't look at Zarek. They looked at her, not with fear, with respect. A new voice came from the stands, the small insectoid student whose wrist she'd unintentionally helped break. You could have crushed him. Why didn't you? Rhea didn't hesitate. Because humans don't start fights. She paused. We finished them. A ripple of awe moved through the watching crowd. Zarek lowered his eyes and stepped aside, creating a path for her. It wasn't submission, it was acknowledgement. Rhea left the arena the same way she had arrived, calm, steady, unbothered. But the school was different now. Students parted, giving her space. Not out of fear, out of understanding. She was no monster. She was proof that restraint held more power than brutality, and on a station filled with species who measured dominance through force. A human had just rewritten the rulebook. The arena victory didn't end anything. It started everything. In the days that followed, something strange happened in Gaius. Students stared at Rhea not with mockery or fear, but with a different expression. Curiosity. Aliens began trailing behind her from class to class, pretending they were walking in the same direction. Some peeked around corners. Others whispered to each other like explorers observing a rare animal. Even the hallway screens pinged with anonymous questions to the Academy forum. How does a human stay calm under threat? Do humans really sleep in danger zones? Rhea didn't answer any of them. She didn't owe explanations. Still, the attention pressed like invisible weight. Scene 1. The Unexpected Visitor. The dorm corridor was quiet when she returned from class. Soft lighting glowed along the walls, cycling through cool blues and purples. As she reached her door, she sensed someone waiting. Zarek leaned against the far wall, hands behind his back. Not blocking the path, not imposing, just there. Rhea stopped a few feet away. Came to try again? He shook his head. No, you won. I understand that now. She didn't answer. Silence could be a test. Zarek took a steady breath, slow, controlled. This wasn't the same arrogant posture from before. He looked like someone who had spent days thinking about the arena match. I came to ask a question. Rhea crossed her arms. You know I don't do dominance interviews. He didn't smile. It's not about dominance. Not anymore. He shifted his weight, voice low. Why didn't you finish me when you had the chance? Rhea studied him, his stance, the tension in his shoulders, the sincerity hidden deep inside embarrassment. She walked to her door, unlocked it, and paused. You failed to understand the difference between power and control, she said. I use control. He frowned slightly. Explain. She turned fully toward him. Power is the ability to break someone. Control is choosing not to. The words hit him harder than any strike. He stepped nearer, slow enough to show he wasn't attempting to intimidate her. I was raised to believe that dominance is survival. Rhea nodded once. Humans survive by relationships. We're a social pack species. He blinked. Predators with packs? Exactly. Zarek's brow furrowed. So defeating me wasn't a victory? It wasn't about you, she said. It was about what I refused to become. She entered her room and closed the door gently, leaving Zarek standing in the hallway with an expression no one had ever seen on him before. Respect. Scene 2. The class that changed everything. 2 days later, Rhea entered Intercultural Behavioral Dynamics, a lecture hall built like a bowl. Screens lined the circular walls, showing biological data and social evolution models. Professor Orlin, a soft-spoken, amphibious scholar with wide eyes and translucent skin, called up a holographic presentation. Topic: Deathworld species. Social adaptation versus aggression. The room buzzed. Everyone knew who the lesson was about. Orlin cleared his throat. We have spent years studying Earth, but today we have something we have never had before. He gestured toward Rhea, a living example willing to be analyzed. Rhea froze. I did not agree to, but the professor wasn't finished. We will discuss Earth psychology. Not her specifically. Rhea relaxed slightly. But the tension didn't leave her shoulders. Orlin displayed an image of Earth, deserts, jungles, oceans, volcanoes, lightning, storms. Earth is classified as a death world because everything on it is. Dangerous weather, terrain, animals, microorganisms, he tapped the hologram. Humans did not evolve claws, venom, or armor. They evolved something else. Students leaned forward. Adaptability. The professor highlighted a brain scan. Humans learn from patterns faster than any other species on record. Rhea stared at the screen. It felt strange hearing her. Species described clinically. Zarek raised a hand. Then, why don't humans constantly dominate others? If they're that capable, why restraint? All attention rotated to Rhea. She didn't expect to speak, but she did. Because humanity learned something you haven't yet. Zarek narrowed his eyes. What lesson? Rhea stood. When you're strong. You don't need to prove it. Something shifted in the room. Predators lived to display power. Humans survived by choosing when not to use it. Rhea walked to the hologram, pointing at several harsh environments. We didn't conquer Earth by overpowering it. We survived by outlasting it. The reptilian student with the healed wrist leaned forward. But why not intimidate others into obedience? You could rule. Rhea shook her head. That's not strength. That's insecurity. Silence washed across the students, and for the first time, they understood. Scene 3. The emergency drill warning alarms blared through the academy. Red lights pulsed. A voice echoed from the intercom. Deck C oxygen breach. Immediate evacuation. Students panicked. Some ran, others froze. Rhea moved toward the sound of distress. On the far side of the hall, a small four-winged student was trapped under a fallen support beam. Gas hissed from a ruptured valve. Rhea rushed forward. Zarek did too. But the beam was too heavy for him to lift alone. I need to get him out, Zarek said. Rhea analyzed the structure, spotting leverage points. We don't lift. We angle. He followed her instructions instinctively. Together, they shifted the beam sideways rather than upward. The pressure redistributed. Rhea pulled the student free while Zarek stabilized the beam. The moment the creature was safe, maintenance drones sealed the breach. Alarms shut off. Zarek stared at her, breath unsteady. You saved him. Rhea brushed dust off her uniform. Anyone would have. Zarek shook his head. No, not anyone. You didn't hesitate. Rhea met his gaze. That's the difference between dominance and leadership. Scene 4. The realization. Later that night, Rhea stood alone on the observation deck. The stars stretched like endless silver wounds across the black. She finally breathed. She had come here to endure. She was accidentally teaching. Footsteps approached, quiet, respectful. Zarek stood beside her, hands clasped. I always believed fear kept order, he said. But I watched you today. They listened because they respected you. Rhea didn't turn her head. Fear fades. Respect lasts. A pause. You changed something in me, Zarek said. And maybe in all of us. Rhea's voice softened. I didn't come here to change anyone. No, he said. You came here and changed us anyway. For the first time since arriving, Rhea allowed herself a real smile. Maybe her mother had been right. Strength doesn't need to roar. It only needs to be.